Hello viewers, welcome to the session on important presentation etiquette and manners. I'm Sunil Solomon Philip, working as an assistant professor of English in the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. To begin with, the meaning of etiquette is politeness, courteousness, or manners to behave in a particular situation. What is the fixed behavior in a particular situation? Fixed behavior in a particular situation is etiquette. Let's go and see more about this presentation etiquette and manners, because this will tell us about the kind of behavior that we need to maintain, manners that we need to maintain for presentations. I'm sure the presentation will be useful and resourceful to all of viewers. Here we go. Important presentation etiquette and manners, first impressions are crucial, because we all know the famous quotation that says first impression is the best impression. A presentation is about impressions, but is there a rule book on the etiquette you should follow or we should follow? In general, we model ourselves and our behaviors based on what we have seen in past presenters. Generally, all of us, we have different kinds of role model presenters, ideal presenters, exemplary presenters, who display their style of speaking, their style of posture on the dais. I mean to say, the way they stand, the way they use their hands, fingers, their dress sense, the slides that they bring, or the way they present, throw up the words. So all of us, we have some sort of role models as presenters, as ideal presenters. So we usually follow them, imitate them, don't we? Yes. Our teachers are forever a go-to on how to deliver, some bad, some good, because all of us, we remember our best teachers even for today. The best teachers are regarded, respected, and we even today we look up to them. We always have a very high impression on teachers who who delivered well, who presented well, who taught us well. So the way they presented, their presentation skills, their that mastery, that expertise that they followed, we always look up to that as a sort of role model. Either way, you have seen an example of presentation etiquette which works, as well as an example which doesn't work. So whether it is our teachers or other role models that we have seen, all that we are looking at is some sort of format or a kind of ideal presentation pattern, ideal presentation outlook in terms of dress, in terms of presentation, in terms of maybe their slides or their secrets, their methods, approaches and techniques that they follow, or maybe jokes, anecdotes and quotations that they follow. All of them, all of us, we have our own style of presentation. Different masters, different experts, they have their different styles of presentation. So the best ones is what we imitate, what we should imitate, what we should follow. Fine. Well, in helping write and design presentations, I also help coach people in their delivery. Well, it's not just about preparing slides, or it's not just about preparing the content. It brings me immense pleasure. It gives me immense pleasure actually to coach people in terms of their presentation, in terms of their delivery. We are going to almost see 10 aspects of etiquette which remain true in every manner of presenting, some of which apply to both in-person and online presentations. They are simplistic but crucial to the impression that you send. So let's go and see those 10 aspects of these important presentation etiquette and manners. First one is arrive early and prepared, and arrive early and be prepared. You should arrive about an hour before you deliver your presentation. Maybe hour might be, if you think that 1 hour is too early, at least half an hour before your presentation is always good, so that that will calm you down, cool you down, and that will help you to take care of everything around you in a proper manner. I know this may seem like an extreme amount of time, but it is not, There is parking to consider, finding the presentation location, equipment setup and testing. The list is actually enough for another article. Well, see, for one of the ideal best presentations, for one of the effective presentations, there are so many things to consider. There are so many things to take care of, beginning from the equipment infrastructure to the way we present ourselves, the dress and address things, and the slides that we prepare, the dress that we wear. All these things, they matter a lot. Therefore, instead of coming at the last minute, or instead of coming there at the neck of the moment and in those tense moments, instead of presenting there, it's always good to be there before time, much ahead of the schedule, not not at the exact moment, or not. Instead of on time, it is always better if we are in time there. On time is like exactly at the time of presentation. In time is you are before time. So it's always better. It's always good to be there ahead of your scheduled time of presentation, so that everything is taken care of properly. Fine. Now, you also need to be prepared. Showing up early can ensure your preparedness. When you come there early, when you come there prepared, that actually, sends very positive signals to the people who are arranging or organizing that presentation. And also for the listeners, for the audience, that would send very positive signals that the person is very dedicated, disciplined, devoted, duty-minded. And he is actually very, very prompt in he seems to be a perfectionist, an impeccable person, taking care of everything very meticulously, right? So that will send that sort of signal. So it's always good to be there ahead of schedule. You have the time to triple check that everything works, and you have what you need. So it's always good to check it twice, thrice, whether everything is in order, whether everything is in proper control, whether everything is in perfect control or not. So it's always good to cross-check that. If all this becomes unnecessary, at least you are there early enough to improvise. You see, if you feel like all these things are taken care by the organizers there, who are organizing the event, conducting the event, okay, at least, if you are there before time, before the scheduled time, you can always improvise. You can always actually, go for new things in your slides, content, maybe examples, because flashlights come at the last minute. Our flashlights also come, from time to time. So the more you spend time with those slides, the more you spend time with that content, you will get new ideas to present. Therefore, at least for that improvisation, one should be there. One should arrive there early, and one should be prepared. Okay. Dress properly and eat well. What is dressing properly and what is eating well? The way you dress will reflect not only you, but everything you are representing. Proper dress sense. That's the reason dress and address both are very important. The color of our dress speaks volumes about, our presentation, or the design, or the kind of formality that we maintain there, the decency and decorum. All these things are reflected by the dress we wear. So one should take care of the dress that is worn on the day of the presentation. Now, dress for the event, but don't overdo it. Consider your audience and the purpose of the presentation to best select your dress code. Eating well is two-sided. Well, you should also have enough energy, so ensure that you not overeat, but definitely take sufficient energy levels, or have sufficient energy levels to complete your presentation confidently and successfully. Be respectful and thoughtful. What is being respectful? What is being thoughtful? Being an expert, master, specialist does not give room for being conceited. The meaning of conceited is, pride, proud, supercilious, disdain, conceited, proud. These are all synonyms actually. So just because you are an expert, just because you're a master or specialist, it shouldn't give room for being for a person to be very full of pride, which is not good. Know your manners. Always try to be polite, humble, simple, down to earth. Okay. Do not forget to say please, thank you. Wait for others to complete a thought. So it's always good to be a down-to-earth personality, irrespective of, regardless of whether you are an expert or master or specialist, because that humbleness is always respected, and humbleness is always regarded. Okay, irrespective of, regardless of our achievements or accolades or awards or whatsoever. Now, you also need to understand that their time is valuable. The audience time is valuable. The listener's time is valuable. So, the presenter should be respectful and thoughtful for the audience in terms of their time. Some members of your audience may feel you are wasting their time before you get started. So, you see, there are different kinds of personalities. So, before you start your presentation, some of them might feel that this man is simply wasting time. He's not starting his presentation. He's taking too long a time for these infrastructure, equipment things, arrangements and other things. Actually, these things should be taken care of before. So, these things we should bear in mind, keep in mind before we start the presentation. Respect their time, I mean to say the audience time, listeners' time, and make sure that in exchange for the time they give you, that you are providing constant value throughout your presentation. So, the time that they spend there, they should never ever feel like it's just a waste. They should always feel like, wow, my time is definitely valued. I have learned something new, and I'm really impressed. I really appreciate the kind of inputs that I have received from the presentation, by the presentation. Because that should be the feedback, review, remarks of the audience. Rather, they should never feel like, it's just a time waste. I think I should not have attended. Your presentation should never send such signals to the audience. Okay, fine. Don't be too quick to react. Fast reaction seems like you are on the defensive side. Allow a brief second for questions or reactions from the audience to set in. There is magic in a pauses. This is really true. You see, don't be very fast in reacting to questions. Don't be very, very hasty in answering the questions, because that would reflect that you are trying to be on the defensive side. I hope you understand. So don't be such kind of person who is very hasty in answering the questions. Rather, allow a brief second for questions or reactions from the audience to set in. Take time, no problem. Because you see, irrespective of, regardless of our mastery or expertise, all of us are human beings. So we take time to recollect. We take time to think, react. We take time to respond. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in that. We are not robots to respond probably spontaneously or immediately. There is nothing wrong in taking sufficient time in between. That's the reason it is said that there is magic in a pause. So take pauses, take your time, cool down, and then answer the questions that the listeners have posed. Okay. A brief 3-second pause is never noticed by your audience, and it gives you a time to breathe, think, and react. You see, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, there's nothing wrong in that. Rather, by taking such deep breaths, by taking such pauses, proper oxygen is also supplied to your brain. So that actually will, give you a kind of relaxed feeling when oxygen levels are properly supplied. Instead of that hasty feeling or nervous feeling of answering everything, or I don't know how I would answer, never. Relax, calm down, cool down, and most importantly, take time to breathe, take time to think, and then take time to react or respond. Reacting too fast can cause fillers like ums and ahs and make you seem rash. You see, using too many fillers, they look like this man is trying to cover up, or this man is trying to somehow manage the answer. That shouldn't be the case. Usage of those fillers like, kind of. Here and there we can use, but not too many of them. That might send wrong signals to the audience. Let the answer be comprehensive, composed, complete in all aspects by taking your time to breathe, think, and react. Okay. Be aware of your word emphasis, emphasizing, showcasing, reiterating. Be aware of that. What is this? The way you add emphasis to your words convey meaning. The way you highlight words, showcase words, emphasize words, they actually convey meaning. Excitement in your voice is great, but emphasizing certain words changes the whole meaning of your sentence. You see, excitement is always good. Excitement is always, it is welcome. But showcasing, emphasizing, reiterating certain words, that might change the whole meaning of the sentence. Therefore, when we emphasize something, okay, we need to be careful. What is that we are highlighting? What is that we are showcasing? And, we need to take care of that such word emphasis. Like, does she have to come with us versus does she have to come with us sends a different message. In the first example, it seems like the speaker has some dislike for the person. The speaker has some dislike for the person in question. Does she have to come with us? Okay. The second one is a simply stated question. You can't really tell if there is added meaning to the statement. Be aware of how you emphasize words. Like, it should not be miscommunicated, misrepresented, misinterpreted. That should not be the case. When we emphasize words, that should not be misunderstood. The emphasis should be done in such a way that the message is properly sent to the audience. Okay. Own your stage and watch your body language. Sticking to one spot makes you look stiff. Okay, that's also you're as if you're stick to one place. Don't be such kind of person. Keep moving from one end to the other. If you look stiff, everything you are representing is stiff. Therefore, own your stage. This goes back to arriving early and having time to know the space you have to work with. So, always be a kind of person who moves freely on the podium. Okay, so that you give your eye contact is also uniform, and you give proper eye contact to everybody, and you feel free on the podium. That sort of ease, that sort of comfort is reflected by the way you walk, by the way you take care of the stage there. You need to actually own the stage, right? It should be natural, and it should be like in a very natural manner, not in an artificial manner, mind you. Okay. This goes back to arriving early and having time to know the space you have to work with. That's the reason if you come early, you know the space that you can use there, where you can walk, where you can actually stand, where you can, use your body language properly, facial expressions, all that. Right. Well, moving around it so you can address every part of the room. The body language you use on the stage also aids in conveying your message. The kind of facial expression, the gestures, all that will convey the message that you are trying to convey. Keep it precise and simple. Keep it very short and sweet. Precise is brief actually. So brief and simple. Every movement should have a specific purpose. Don't just move for the sake of moving. That's where I said it should not be artificial. Own your stage and watch your body language. Because listeners and audience, they are very keen on, because a true listener or a sort of active listener not only gets connected to your verbal communication, to the content, to the delivery, pronunciation, words, sentences, expressions, phrases, the technical words that are used. They are also connected to the body language of the speaker. The way he reacts, the way he responds, the way he stands, the way he uses his hands, fingers. Therefore, one should not only take care of the content, but also the body language. Verbal and non-verbal communication, both should be taken care of properly. Be prepared for the unexpected. Unless you have psychic abilities and can see into the future, you don't know when the unexpected is coming. You can, however, be prepared for the worst case scenarios. Well, unless you have the powers to see the future, it's always good to be prepared for the worst. All that we are trying to discuss here is always be prepared for the worst. It might be a technical problem. It might be a tough question by the audience. It might be some handout is missing. Whatsoever, you should be in a position to handle the situation in a balanced manner without losing your, confidence levels. That's it. Getting things, messing up things over there because of tension, and throwing things, or kind of voice quivering, or giving a blank stare to the audience. That sort of things, those things should never take place during the course of presentation. So one should always be prepared for the worst cases, so that one can do the presentation effectively and efficiently. Know your material in case there is a problem where you can't use your visual aid. Maybe you were going to present to a small group and now it is an entire auditorium. What do? Relax and present to the individuals. Make sure you can work without your primary presentation file if required. Even your backup files should have backup files. I mean, suddenly from a smaller group you are asked to address a very big group in the auditorium. Or suddenly there are some power problems. Or the internet connectivity is not working properly. The connectivity is bad, poor connectivity. Or somewhere the slides are not visible. The file that you carried there is not visible. In any of these cases, you should be a person who is prepared for the unexpected and do the things, even in those cases, confidently. That means the preparation should be to that level. Keeping these things in mind, and the preparation should be prepare, practice, the 3 P's: prepare, practice, present. So the preparation, the practice should be, to that kind of extent that, no matter, come what may, you should be handle those negative situations in a very positive manner. You should be able to handle those negative situations in a positive manner. Okay, fine. Never turn your back on the audience. This is seen as disrespectful by many. It should be a general practice rule to always keep your shoulders forward. You should always be facing the audience, not, showing your back to them. Reading from your visual aid can kill your authority with the audience. Don't be a person who just reads the, material, who has taken the material on the slides and then he has copied, pasted some material and he went there and he just read the sentence. You should be a person who does that. Rather, each slide, each point that is presented there, displayed, demonstrated there, should be very, very resourceful, very, very crisp, very, very natural, very, very informative and educated. That should always send signals to the audience that, yes, this is what I need. This is what I have been looking for. Their needs, requirements, and their demands should be addressed specifically, particularly. Then, yes, their feedback, review, remarks will be definitely positive, encouraging, appreciative feedback. All right, fine. Besides, meaning in addition to this, the audience is investing their time into your presentation. So don't turn your back on them. So it's not good to show your back to the audience. It's always good to face them face to face. And most importantly, don't be a person who just goes there and read the slide or read the presentation from the script material in a very mechanical or in a very monotonous manner. Rather, the presentation should be lively, energetic, vibrant, and most important, it should be informative, educative. It should be resourceful, purposeful. Okay, fine. In the case of an online presentation, when you are broadcasting yourself across the web, stay in front of your camera. Don't be, off the camera. Always keep facing the camera because they are all looking up to you and they are all expecting you to explain something or to, keep reading something because they are all engaged to your camera space. Therefore, never go off the camera. Always be, in front of the camera in case of webinars, in case of online presentations, Fine. If you're not using your camera, but instead just screen sharing to present your presentation content, never step away from the microphone. Because if you are not actually appearing there on the camera and rather you are using that space to present your slides, always ensure that your audio is properly connected to the audience. I mean, they are able to listen to you properly. Otherwise, they may feel disconnected. All right, fine. It is the equivalent of turning your back. See, we have seen these things, especially during Corona times, especially as teachers, we have faced that, and also learners, viewers, students. You also know these, online teaching and learning, this online teaching and learning scenario that we have encountered during the times of Corona. So, If it is online presentations, always be on the camera. If you are presenting your content, ensure that your voice is properly connected to the audience. They should never feel that your voice is disconnected. Oh, fine. Speak in an educative tone, informative tone. The purpose of delivering your presentation is to educate the audience on your topic. They don't know what you know. So therefore, see, you should always take the audience from the perspective of a layman, a common man. Don't think that they know everything and therefore I'm teaching to them. Your explanation should be such that even a layman, even a common man should be able to understand the explanation, concept, content in a very easy and in a very natural manner. Okay. They don't want to know everything you know either. Keep it concise, but explain any jargon you use. It doesn't mean that they should know everything that you have prepared. They should understand everything that you have explained. Not necessary. Keep it brief, keep it to the point, keep it short and sweet. But most importantly, if you are using any technical jargon, if you are using any technical words there, make sure that you explain those technical words properly to the listeners. Okay. When delivering your presentation, you should do so with the assumption that this is the first time they have heard any of your material. The result is better engagement with your audience. See, when your presentation is such that they are listening to your presentation for the very first time, they don't know any of this, so it should be very, very easily understandable. It should be easy. It should make their lives easier, not difficult. If that is your viewpoint, if that is your perspective, definitely you can expect your audience to be better engaged with your presentation. Okay. Visual aids should be used with care. Visual aids in terms of, there is a Chinese proverb that says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It can be a flow chart, it can be a bar graph, it can be a neat and well-labeled diagram, whatsoever. This last point alone has a lot to be said about it. What is that? Visual aid should be used with care. Throwing up paragraphs and terrible images will destroy your visual aid. You need to understand the basics of human spatial cognition and cognitive load theory. Cognition, understanding levels. So the basics of this human spatial cognition, you see, pictures, images, they always add life to your presentation because they are always self-explanatory. They reflect the kind of care and interest that you have taken in that, and they are, they speak 1,000 words. Whatever we speak there, whatever we speak in 1,000 words in the presentation can be explained with one diagram, one flow chart, one bar graph properly, which is neat, which is easy to understand, which is properly displayed and demonstrated, explained to them. Therefore, visual aid should be used with care. They will help you understand how humans encode information into their memory, as well as the optimal number of visuals for memory input. Okay, what will help us? That is this human spatial cognition and cognitive load theory. Less is always so much more. And not only that, these visual aids will help us to understand how humans encode information into their memory, as well as the optimal number of visuals for memory input. These theories will understand how to use those. This cognitive load theory or human spatial cognition will help us how to use those visual aids in an effective and efficient manner, keeping in mind the memory input, memory power of the, of general human beings. Okay, and optimal number of visuals, like how many number of images to be shown there. Okay, less is always so much more. Use visual metaphors in place of long-winded paragraphs. For example, you can actually replace the physical bullet point with a graphic metaphor. This helps the audience easily recall that information. It is magic real. Meaning, wherever necessary, wherever required, it is always good to show an image instead of a paragraph and instead of a driving point. Because I will have to again go back to the Chinese proverb, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So, graphic metaphors instead of these long-winded paragraphs are always better. It's really magic because, Picture explains everything, diagram is easy to understand. That's the reason we should use these images, visual aids with proper care. So, viewers, that's all about the important presentation etiquette that I would like to focus on. In fact, we have discussed several things in this presentation, beginning from arriving early and being prepared, dressing properly and eating well, okay, being respectful and thoughtful. Don't be too quick to react, not being very hasty in reacting to the questions of the audience, being aware of the word emphasis. Okay, what is that we are highlighting? How is that we are highlighting, showcasing, and warning the stage and watching the body language, being prepared for the next, being prepared for the worst, never turning back on the audience, not showing the back or back to the audience unless it is unavoidable, speaking in an educative and informative tone, and finally taking care of visual aids with proper care. So all these points that we have discussed so far, I'm sure they are useful and resourceful. Be there in time, take care of everything properly. Dress and address, both are very important. Okay, eat well for the day of your presentation. Be respectful and thoughtful. See, you might be an expert, or simple, humble, down to earth personalities are always regarded, respected. Okay, we need not show off there just because we are experts or masters, right? And don't be in a haste to answer the questions. Take time, take pause. Okay, so that the answer is properly conveyed to the audience, their doubts are clarified, and it also should not send negative signals to them that you are taking the defensive side in answering the questions in a hasty manner. Whenever you highlight a word, highlight a phrase or expression, be aware of that. Owning the stage in terms of body language, posture, standing posture, walking there, all that. Take care of facial expression, gestures, everything. Be prepared for the worst, be prepared for the unexpected. Never turn your back. Speak in an educative and informative tone. Explain it from the perspective of the listeners. Explain to them from the perspective of the audience that they are listening for the first time, that they should understand it in a proper manner. And finally, visual aids should be used with care. Images, visual images, they are very useful, very helpful for any of the presentations. Thank you very much for watching this program. Keep watching IARE YouTube. I'm Sunil Solomon Philip. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.